and welcome to Sanctuary Sunday. Sanctuary! Yes, this is where I take refuge from my weekly wargame work to cover something other than wargames, cover something other than sci-fi and fantasy, which I address on Saturdays, and, go into something a little bit different. And today is something a lot different. This is Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein. This is from Plaid Hat Games, and it's a game designed by Dan Blanchett. This is different. This is the classic Frankenstein, story of Frankenstein, but taken to its raw and real and sometimes grotesque logical conclusions, as you would expect, from collecting body parts to try to put together a human and reanimate it. So I picked this up. I've been looking at this for a long time, but I picked this up because I finally said this is a unique enough of a game, an interesting enough of a game, that I thought I would get it. Not sure how much the fam is going to like this game, but it does have a solo variant. It's not solo compatible inside the box, but there was I printed out a couple ones here. There is a official solo variant that you can download and get that. So, and it doesn't look that hard either. So let's take a look at the back of the box here. This is Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein. This is a Gothic strategy game of Munster building, ages 14 plus, and there is a little bit of theming here, right? I mean, there's a little bit of, this is not for younger kids. I mean, you are collecting body parts, but you're also making some ethical and moral decisions in this game that, again, this is not necessarily a family game. It's for 2 to 4 players, or with that solo variant 1, duration 90 to 120 minutes. Let's take a look. Lift it up. There's quite a good heft in this, so maybe you're getting your money's worth. The Gothic strategy game of Munster building. Paris, 1819, in secret workshops scattered around the city, stacks of bloodless extremities and human organs fuel a nightmarish contest. A creature that should not exist drives a group of amoral scientists to build it an unspeakable companion. And elsewhere, a grizzled old sea captain clutches the grip of his pistol. He has come to honor his promise made to a dying Victor Frankenstein, and he prays for courage. This is taking place after the events of Mary Shelley's classic novel, Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein, is a game of competitive monster creation. Race to construct a viable living being to satisfy the mad obsession of your benefactor. Research the newest scientific findings. Charge your Leyden jars and scavenge the local cemeteries for raw materials needed to perfect your craft. Bribe, steal, exhume, and murder your way to victory, for the creature is always watching and does not tolerate failure. So that is part of the, as I said, it's amoral, there's ethical dilemmas, and basically you're this scientist and you're been compelled by this, I think it's the Mad Sea Captain or whatever, but you're supposed to have this contest of who can make the creature first. So that's the competitive nature of this. So it is you're all kind of going against each other and trying to compete for resources. And some of the resources, I mean, the way you get it, I mean, you can go into graveyards and get stuff. You can go get them, I think, out of hospitals, but sometimes if you want something really fresh, well, are you willing to do that? So there, and you're measuring both your scientific status, but also I can't know what it's called in here, but basically your morals, right? So I mean, if you just become depraved by you just out murdering everything and getting the freshest stuff, and you might not win the game that way. So it's kind of a balance. You're trying to win the race to create something first, but also keep your status up and also keep some humanity, right? So that is what the game is about. Let's get inside the box and see what's going on here. So I thought, with moral dilemmas, I thought, what better day to cover this than Sanctuary Sunday. So let me go to the box there. And Plaid Hat usually does a real good job on production value. So here we go. It's a typical square kind of hobby box. And, decent thickness. Typical. You're going to get the rule book here, which is 16 pages, and something I always like is using the back page for player aid. This is a quick reference. You have your attribute dial icons, additional game icons, in-game scoring, monster part grade chart, shock dice icons, and how to assemble the attribute dial or attribute dial assembly. So not a wasted space on the back there. So the rules themselves are, you get the in-game story. Looks like there's some references here to certain things. This is encounter card entries, locations in detail, some game tips, increasing attributes, playing and discarding cards, end of game. So yeah, the rules, it's not necessarily laid out sequentially. It looks like there's different sections in there. So here's all your components, quite a bit in this box. You've got cards, you've got meeples, here's the body parts. As you can see here, this kind of gets a little grotesque, right? You're putting this creature together, and then when you animate it, you'll flip that over. So and it's using the same theme from the Frankenstein novel. You're getting these Leyden jars, and you're using electricity, and you have to roll these dice to get certain successes to animate your creature. Here's the game setup on the board. Looks like quite a bit going on there. So you got your round order, event phase, city phase, lab phase, reset phase, and end of game. So that's the high level of the rules is 5 pages, right? Then you've got playing and discarding cards, increasing attributes. So this is all the different, some more detail into the game itself. Locations. You're going to be going to locations, so this is kind of a worker placement type situation, but there's also card play as well. Here is the letter. So this is it's interesting. A little bit of theme stuff there. I'll save that for when I get ready to play it. Here are your, looks like maybe these are your player boards. Kind of, thick, but not, not mounted. And this is where you're going to keep all your stuff. Oh, this looks like there's a little dial there. So these poke out. So that's those attribute dials that you'll have to be assemble. Oh, already poked out. So humanity. So that's that. As you make tougher decisions, if you're stealing and bribing and murdering, well, your humanity is going to go down. Here's your reputation. This is you're a renowned scientist or doctor, and this is your expertise. So those are your 3 attributes that you're trying to balance during this game. Humanity, reputation, expertise. So it kind of takes a different look at things. Here's where you keep all your body parts and stuff, and you've got to use it before it goes bad. As I said, this is a very somewhat logical and realistic view of Frankenstein, and not a cartoonish look at creating a human. I mean, you've got to get materials, and you have to use it before it goes bad, or put it on ice, and you got to get ice, and it's, as I said, it's a little bit grotesque. Man, you get a lot of counter sheets there, a lot of punching out to do there. Look at that. A lot of tokens in this game. And they're double-sided. Then you got your body parts there. This is what they look like when you're putting them together. As I said, this is not for the faint of heart, but if you have an aspiring doctor in your family, this is your beginning of Grey's Anatomy right here. Got some big charts here. And you get this. I think these might go to the wheel. That looks like those are the dials that go there. Oh, there's only 4. Sorry about that. There's only there's only 3 boards, but then you've got the mounted board. So we'll take a look at that here in a second. I misspoke. Here's your meeples. Again, this is kind of a worker placement. So you got a lot of meeples there. You got a lot of cubes for different things. And they're nice plastic cubes. You've got a lot of cards. We'll open up some of those here in a second. We've got these complete a Munster part. So these are like, I think, player aids that kind of help you what you need to do for the different parts, like for the body part, head, torso, arm, leg, minimum required, materials needed, and then victory points based on that. And then if in game, if it's alive, you get extra points. So, you know, it's a victory point thing. Here's start a Munster part. Okay, so those are player aids there. And this is another player aid. This is your round order. Tells you what's going on there. And then you've got some material colors. So the brown is muscular, purple is organs, red is blood, white is bone, and orange is animal. So, you know, if you can't get all human stuff, you go to the animal. But if you have too much animal, then you don't have as good a chance, I don't think, to accomplish your goals. Here's your attribute dial icons. So there you go. Those are a couple player aids there. We have custom dice, and I think this is either lightning on there. I think this is when you're trying to animate the monster at towards the end there or during the game. Here's your rivets for the dials. Then we got all kinds of cards here. So let's take a look at some of the cards here and see what we have. There's a lot of these. There's 2 sizes of cards. You got these little ones, and then you've got so as I said, this is an interesting looking game, and there's another one that just came, Work of My Father or something that came out more recent than this game, that deals with this kind of the same topic. So Frankenstein is anew here. So some of this can get kind of gross. I think these are like, if you go to the graveyard, and this is a cemetery. So a lot of these will go to the different areas when you go there, like the docks. This is what you're going to get there, or what you're going to encounter. Here's the academy. And, you know, this is probably going to help you with your research or help you with your expertise if you go to the academy. And then you've got all these different locations. Public square. Public square, you're probably just going to, you know, just off somebody, right? And so this is what you get. You get a cadaver, and this is what you get as far as harvesting that. As I said, this is definitely not a game for the faint of heart, and definitely not, probably not a family game. And here's some of the cadavers you get at the morgue and what they give you. Yeah, so very thematic, very, you know, the art is very evocative of what you're doing. And so, yeah, there's a hospital. Here's a cemetery. You know, that's not going to be as fresh. So, you know, don't get much from that right there. Just get some bone. You know, but, yeah. This was a little bit fresher. So, got some brain matter. Got some stuff there. Anyway, so, yeah, I don't know if you want to see all the macabre cards in here, but there's all kinds of different resources. So these are going to be at the different locations on the board, and you know, that's where you're going. And so there's a little bit of randomness and luck there on what you get when you go to that location and try to, get resources. So it's basically a worker placement, resource management game, but with a very different theme. So these are events. So these are going to affect what's going on the board. They might increase or decrease your resources, or maybe block where you can go. So there's all kinds of events there. Then, don't know what that guy is. I think that might be the sea captain. These are encounters. So there's a little bit of reading on here, or a little bit of background. Oh, these are your characters. Maybe these are the different characters you can play. So those are encounters and events. Don't know what all of that is. But then these are the different characters I think you can play, which you begin with. So this is your starting out stuff. So she's a surgeon. Here is an heiress, a humanitarian. Well, good luck in this game. Here's a charlatan. Here's a zoologist. Here's a psychopath. Well, we know what that person is going to be doing in this game. So there you have it. Those are all the cards and player aids, your meeples, your special dice, your cubes. I mean, this is basically a Euro game hobbyist's dream with everything on. Here's a single-sided map. And I'll move that off a little bit more so we can get a better look at what we're taking a look at here. Let's go up Periscope a little bit more so you get a better look at the entire map. So you got to track around the board. I imagine that's like for victory points. And then you have the different locations. Here's Bribe and Bump. Here's that docks. So it looks like these ones that have these little squares here, that's where you put those cards, those smaller cards. So that'll be a deck there, I imagine, that goes there. You got the market, you got St. Roch, you got Dark Alley, so that's a murder, and it says on here, murder, hire, atone. So you go to the church to try to get your humanity back up. You can donate, you can lecture. This is at the academy where you can do advanced research, lecture, donate. You go to the morgue, you go to the hospital, you go to the cemetery, you go to the public square, you go to the slaughterhouse. That's where you're going to get animal material. And then you got the market where you can kind of buy some stuff. It looks like there's kind of a shine to it. This board is a regular board, but there's like an embossing on some of these areas. It just I know you probably can't see it. It just feels a little slick. So that's kind of interesting how they did that on the board. Oh, here's where you see what the cards are at. See, there's these gray box here. So that's where you'd put, your cards out there. And I don't know if they're face down or face up. But anyway, you got bonus objectives. So there you have it. That's the board. It's kind of a dark board, but this is kind of a dark game, right? So there you have it. That is what you get in a box of Abomination. I think this is basically a game that is true to its name. I mean, what you're doing here is an abomination. And the way you do it, I mean, I guess you can try to do it in the most humanitarian way possible, but yeah, good luck with that, right? So that is Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein by Plaid Hat Games, and is solo playable with a little download. I think I might have got this off of I might get off their website or got it off Board Game Geek, or maybe both. Maybe it's at both places. But if you want to play it solo, then I recommend getting that. So anyway, there you have it. Definitely a game not for everyone. This is brings up a whole issue that I'm not going to get into now, but is a topic of discussion is, what is gameable? What are games that we can do a game on? War games. A lot of people push back on war games because is it glorifying war, or is it trying to understand history? And so there's usually a debate in that realm. Is this is sci-fi kind of. Maybe I should have done this on Saturday, but this is fiction, and so it's horror that has inspired and scared and amazed people for decades, and so it's very ripe to be uh, gamed play or turned into a game. But is it the appropriate material? I mean, this is really raw and somewhat realistic. I mean, this is fiction, but it's somewhat realistic of how you're going out and getting your resources. It's very very different in that regard. So again, not going to get into that debate, but this is one of those ones that kind of falls in that realm of wow, is that what do I want from my games? And but this looks interesting though. I think they, from a thematic, they stuck to it. They took the theme, they addressed it head on, in its all its macabre and grotesque forms, and put it in a game. So anyway, I found it interesting. Thought you might find it interesting too, if not just to say, wow, that's something I'll never play. Anyway, love to know your thoughts on any of this stuff, this game. If you played it, love to know your thoughts on that general topic of what's gameable. That's fine too. Just keep it civil. Anyway, that's what I have for you today on Sanctuary Sunday. Thanks for stopping by. And how I know you stopped by is drop me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Anyway, take care. Thanks for watching.